Good morning. How are you doing, Mary?
Working like always. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
You're a hardworking gal for sure.
Oh my word.
Do you have any data like how many calls it takes for you to get a distributor? Do you keep stats? Because that's
No, I don't. I would probably be too discouraged if I did that.
okay.
But
I think that's something that today I wanted to talk about a little bit because I was listening to recruit how to recruit how many people you really have to reach out to in order to be able to convert someone to really join the business or being a customer. And when you're doing totally cold calls, it's quite a few it's quite a few people for sure.
yeah, it would be much different when you're talking to warm market, which is how I started, of course.
Yeah.
But when you run out of warm market, and I am just too stone agey to be able to handle social media. So
Right.
hats off to you for digging into that. But I'm 30 years older than you are. So
I'd be
but
surprised if you're that much older than I. You look pretty young.
I'm
Okay.
83.
You're 83?
83.
Wow. Wow. Never guess it why those stem cells are working. So cool. Um,
Eh,
so yeah, so now but you're in the good routine, a role for you that's working, right? So that's what matters. Um,
Yeah, every day I'm hitting it hard.
yeah.
And
Well, well, if you ever want to have some fun, like you and me, we could have fun on social media. Right? We
yeah, but I don't even know how to take a picture with my smartphone, let alone do all this other stuff. I mean, I just don't.
Yeah, 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 I totally get that. You just ever let me know if you ever want to just play with it a little bit. Could be fun. I can see we a dynamic duo, right? I think that's the thing about social media is to approach it playfully and to realize that these are all skills. They're just skills, and it could make it add spice. So if you ever felt tired of the routine, it could add spice. Hey Don, how are you? Good morning. Well, this morning do you guys have anything you want to talk about or questions we want to post to the group? I have something I can share with you when you're interested, but how are things?
Well, I have a little bit of a testimony for
Oh,
the first, really, the only thing, see, I've always been in good shape, good energy, so I didn't expect to see a big change by using the patches. But early on, excuse me, the first year, I noticed that the gray that was starting at the top of my head, that disappeared and the hair went back to brown, but that's not exactly a health issue. Uh,
I
but
don't know. That means you have more stem cells. Was that when you use the X39?
yeah, that was just using the X39.
Oh, so Mary,
But
say that one more time while I have you pinned, if you don't mind. What
okay,
hair?
yeah, when I was about 75, my hair began to get a little bit of gray on the top. And I thought, well, heck, that's okay because I know people who turn gray at 40. And so I wasn't worried about it, but that was at the beginning of the COVID nonsense. And all the salons were closed and I couldn't go get a haircut. So finally, that fall, like 8 months later, uh, they started opening up. And when I got a haircut, I realized that when the girl took the cape off my neck and shook the hair off on the floor, and I looked at the floor, there was no gray on the floor. So I thought, well, how about that? But just last week, well, within the last week, I had been struggling with a gum infection. Oh, there's my doggone telephone. I'll just let it ring in the background. Uh, but I was I'd been struggling with a gum infection above where I have a couple of implants, upper right jaw. And I did all my usual things, the colloidal silver and the garlic and the echinacea and all of my herbs and whatnot, and it just wasn't going away. So 3 days ago, I decided I'm going to put an X39 on my face, on my right at the jawbone area. And it worked. The infection seems to be completely gone, although I'm going to stay on the silver and things for a few more days. But it really made a huge difference.
That is so amazing. Yay. I mean, it's funny. Sometimes it doesn't occur to me, oh gosh, I could put a patch on that. And now I'm starting to do just like you described. In fact, I've got some deep pockets that I thought I need to be putting it on my face to see if I can improve those deep pockets where I have some gum issues.
And wow, and what could you, and you know, eliminating gray hair, that's a huge thing, isn't it? Like,
well,
it
it's
sounds
a
like a
vanity issue, but not a health issue.
No, but it's huge.
But
And what were you
not.
saying, Dr. Linda? Like gray hair is an issue. You were saying
Yeah,
that.
well, I
But
mean, what it is, it's a sign that your hair is healthier, and this is because you're doing something from the inside out. I mean, it really reflects overall improvement
yeah,
in health when because that's very unusual, right? We talk about it all the time. Oh, my hair is less gray, right? But that's extremely unusual, and that means you're getting healthier. So,
Aha.
yay, I love
yeah.
it. Very, very fun. Hi Tess, welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Oh, that's okay. Well,
I'm
and totally fine. We're glad you're here. I have a little something that I could talk about, and it might be interesting to you guys. It's about basically the number of people that you need to reach out to. And I know that John's been keeping some stats with Teamzy. And I wanted to share a little bit from Fraser Brooks. That's why I was asking you, Mary, if you kept any stats. It does take a lot of people to connect with. And I'm going to give you some data from Fraser Brooks when he had a whole lot of people. Basically, they had like 1,500 people in this 10-day recruiting blitz. And they tracked how many people they had to reach out to in order to recruit, one distributor, basically. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off my background so I can show you this. Basically, what he said is, in order to bring somebody in, we have to find them, right? Whether we're calling, we have to connect, we're connecting, whether it's messaging, and introduce them to the product. And so how many people do you have to do that? And Don, I know you got some numbers from Teamzy. What's your numbers been like in order to find?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that also, Dr. Linda, because I haven't been tracking lately, and what I've been finding, it's a lot of work tracking. So I kind of slacked off on that because I'm just trying to get the work done but I think it's important. So, I figure out what the thoughts are. Maybe it's best to make that time every day to go back and put all the data in from that day, and maybe Mary can talk about that too, whether she tracks everybody, but yeah, but yeah, that's a great thing about Teamzy is it'll track that and how many people you've connected with before you had to get one.
Yeah, so it will track it, and so sometime, and on Teamzy, it's the app. You can say how many people you exposed, how many conversions, but you have to put in that to get the data. So when they did this 10-day blitz, and finding basically is meaning, you find somebody, you add them and message them. So that's the find. And when we connect, we ask them about, what's up with you? Whether you're connecting on, Lord is one of, have you guys heard the Lord acronym? Location, occupation, recreation, or dreams. It's just one of those ways to remember how to connect. And then introduction being actually asking the question, right? Asking the question. So in order to, when they looked at all these people in this 10-day blitz, 1,500 people, how many people did they, were they able to message them back? If you send them a message, 15 to 20% would message people back, or like say, oh yeah, if you send them like, hey, how you doing, right? So that means in order to actually have a conversation with people, like, so let's say you wanted to reach out to and get one new distributor. They found you had to connect with at least 100 people to get one distributor. Okay. And so this is one distributor. And if you only are talking to 15 to 20% of the people you reach out to, that means it takes you about 500 people to reach out to before you get 100 to talk to get a distributor. Now, this isn't a 10-day period. Now, that does not, so when we think about this though, it doesn't count like the months afterwards. You stay in contact with people and you may yield more benefit later. And as you get better, like for instance, in their inner circle, from this 100, they get 2 to 3 distributors. And then they would pull in about 4 customers from this. One distributor, 4 customers. And so the people who were experienced were seeing more like 2 to 3 distributors and around 10 customers. So I think what his point is that we have to fall in love with the activity, right? With the activity and get used to and really comfortable with doing it. They found that on social media, it takes about 1 minute to find, add, message someone. Okay, 1 minute to find, add, and message someone. So that means, whether it's Teamzy, when you get good at Teamzy, it becomes something that you are able to do pretty quickly. And so basically 500 reach outs, that's about 8 hours of solid reaching out, right? So, you can spread that out. In fact, I don't think you can even send 500 messages in a day. You get flagged. They'd be like, what the what? You're spamming people. So I think that it helps put perspective on why some of us are getting those results and some of us aren't. If we reach out to 2 people, I mean, that's good. It's great. But if we need things to move quickly, we really need to up that and start to just get comfortable with this part of it, the activity, and not be attached to the outcome. The outcome will get better and better as we get better at what we're doing, right? So that's sort of some thoughts on reaching out to people by social media and what really the numbers look like. Some people will be waiting for like trying to make attraction marketing work, right? Using like interesting posts or doing short videos on their stuff. I mean, I really haven't started to do that a whole lot. I'm hoping to move into it, but I think that it is, the professional people in network marketing are really sorting. We're looking for the people who are open, right? I know that you guys all are aware of that. I know this is hopefully will be helpful for some of my team as they're moving into wanting to use social media. It's really is kind of a numbers thing. And then if you have a profile that's adding value, right? Like people look at it and they're like, this is really helpful to me. Then I think it can be very beneficial, draw people in basically. So that was my little short thing from Fraser Brooks this morning, who I feel like he's a pretty smart guy. I like how he uses numbers to help people understand. Well, it's about activity and not being attached to that outcome, but just being attached to and enjoying the fun of network marketing. Connection with people is fun. I mean, Mary, I bet you have fantastic conversations with folks. As you're Yeah. So, yeah, and so I'm curious, this is, and I don't know, Tess, if you keep any of your numbers with, as you start to reach out, are you using, any cold market, or are you, just doing warm market?
I'm mostly warm market, but and semi-warm. And what I mean by that is I track everything, on Facebook. That's what I use. And example, I have 4 people that were complaining about pain. One of them trying to get off of caffeine and other bodybuilding kind of things, not steroids. And so when they do that, I'll say, I have something that can help you. Send me a private message. And almost, I would say 80% of them always send me a private message and said, tell me what you have. So that's the way I do it. I always say, my cold market is I have to warm them up. And that's really what I do now. Almost everybody on my Facebook, as friends, I know because they're from my old teams, so they're still, I may not have connected with them for years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always say, do you remember me? And the majority of them go, oh yeah, I do remember you. What are you doing now? So that's kind of, so, but I also, wherever I go, I'm always carrying patches with me. And so wherever I go, if I eavesdrop and I hear somebody saying, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have to get knee surgery. My knee hurts so bad right now. And I don't want to take drugs. And then I wait until they're done with their conversation. And then I interrupt and I go, I'm sorry for eavesdropping, but I heard you talking about your knee. And if I usually have the ice wave with me as an immediate thing. And so I'll just say, would you be open for me to put these patches on you? And let's see what would happen. And it's amazing because most of the people go, I can't believe it. My pain is gone. Then that opens it up for the other things. But I always try to get their name, number, any way to contact them. I don't just randomly throw them out there.
Right.
And
When you place use the clock method, or
I do. I usually I say, okay, push in where the pain is. Then that's where I put the brown patch. And then I said, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this white patch. I'm going to take it around. I said, think of a clock. And that's what I tell them. We're going to try 3 o'clock. And then I wait a few seconds and I say, okay, what is your level of pain? And if it's still there, I always remember David Schmidt said, as long as there's pain there, you haven't found the right spot. And then I take it to 6 o'clock. And then I go just around the clock. And once they say it's a 2 or it's reduced a lot, then I will stick the white patch on there. And but I've had I have had people, I don't know who was saying this yesterday, that have knee issues where I put something on their knee and then I put something behind their knee. I put the white one behind their knee or vice versa. And it seems to work really well. Because I'm dealing with some people, a person that's had hip replacement. And she said, I don't know what to do because I still have so much pain and I don't want to take these drugs anymore. So that's the kind of things, that pop up, that almost everybody in my age group has something going on, and younger too. If they're very athletic, then they get injured. It's just, and especially people that ride horses. It's almost a combo. I mean, you can bet that they've been thrown off a horse, stomped on by a horse. They've had all kinds of things happen. So it's not just about the horses. And so this is what I'm working with Eleanor, my person that is my horse person. And so what she does is she carries the patches with her, and then she focuses on the horses. But then she said, how are you doing? Oh my gosh, when I was younger, I didn't worry about this, but I've been thrown on and stomped on so many times. I've got this and this and this. So it's kind of a combo, humans versus and animals.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's very helpful. I carry the patches with me. I'm not out as much since the pandemic hit. I'm just not getting out as much. Maybe I need to just venture out of my bedroom more.
well, and I'm not either. you know, I work remotely most of the time, but what I'm trying to do is focus locally rather than going far away places and trying to meet with people. I can't do that. So they're all virtual. And but then the people here in Pueblo, they're so close to me that I walk everywhere. So simply because I don't have a car that works, but I walk everywhere. And so I go into each of the business. I just walk into each of the businesses, the local businesses, and talk to them and chat with them and figure out who needs something, you
Okay,
know,
but
and
unwrap that a little bit. So
pardon me.
let's say I'm gonna go walk into like a local herbal shop where they sell teas.
Mhm.
So they do sort of natural stuff. How would you just strike up a conversation and what would you be saying to them?
Well, one of the lucky things about living in a little community like this where I live is most of the people know me. So
Okay,
when I walk in, I go, hey, how you doing? Well, I'm doing okay. And then they start telling you everything that you need to know. And then I say, well, are you open to, letting me show you some things that might work for you? And usually if they're really, really busy with retail customers, I just say we can schedule it at a different time, but here's what I would like to do. And then I'll send them my website. It depends on who it is. I don't send my website to everybody, but I'll send the little websites, like that Nikki did. If they need before and after pictures, I send them that. So it depends on what the person needs. If they're not a real scientific minded person, I try to keep it as simple as I can
yeah.
because all they care, it's kind of like what that one lady say, patch it and roll. It's kind of like they will believe what they experience.
Yeah.
And so that's what I just, I try to explain to them, it's not going to interfere with your medications that you're on. If you feel uncomfortable with that, then you can check with your doctor. And most of them say, I wouldn't check with my doctor, because a lot of people are the doctors just put them on one medication after the other. Um, so it is just really, and they're kind of horrific medicines. And so they don't want to be on them, but they don't know what else to do. So I think the opportunity is there. I loved what David Jumper said, though. It really opened my eyes about what he did when he was at the expo in Amsterdam and how he only sampled the Eon and the Ice Wave and did not pass out X39 and X49 patches like crazy.
When did he talk about that?
Huh?
When did he say this is just now? I mean,
This was when he was on the call the other day and
oh, well, I was not there because I was.
Yeah, you
oh,
missed it,
yes,
Dr. Linda. Yeah, that was that was a good call. David
yes,
Jumper was talking about Amsterdam and how well the
oh,
convention
wow.
went. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
So
and the
what did
thing,
he
but
say?
then the
He
thing that
only
I
used
got from it
Ice
is
Wave?
I would have thought that they would have gone there and just passed out X49 and 39, but he said no. He said if somebody came back to him, he said everybody was walking around with patches on them, and there were so many people they couldn't even keep track of all of it. And so some of the people probably were already in LifeWave with other companies, but he just looked at it like, having people walk around with these patches was important. But what would happen is when they would come back to him and say they got results, then they would start sharing more. They didn't have time to do analysis of everybody. It was just so crowded.
Patch stick it.
But he chose not to do. He had one woman. Do you remember this one? He had this one woman that his son was. She had MS, and she had just pain shooting in her arms, and she had had pain for like 4 years and just burning sensations. And so his son put on the Eon and the two patches, and she just started crying. And she said, "Oh my gosh, I'm not feeling the stabbing pain that I felt before." So then they met with her separately and went through and talked to her about what she can do further, to do this. And so that's kind of what they did. They really qualified people. they also, if somebody, his thing was, if somebody wants the X49, X39, sell it to them. Don't give them away. You know, have little packets made up of, you know, like 5 patches or whatever you want to put in them. And when a person says, well, you know, I would like to try those, you say, well, here, you can have them for this much. This will give you 5 days of each of these, and you can try them. Understand, you know, not everybody gets immediate results from these. So it was, you know, it's really just learning, you know, what the person wants. The biggest mistake I make is sending way too many patches to people. I send, if they have an issue and I've talked to Dr. Quila or I've talked to somebody and they tell me that they, you know, that she tells me the protocol that I would need for them, then I tend to send them everything in that protocol, and I'm not doing it anymore.
Right.
I'm
You
just going
sent
to do minimal things, and then that if they want to continue and do a complete protocol, then they have to join.
Right.
But I have one great testimony. I'm trying to get it. I do the eye protocol that Dr. Quila and Karen Kahn did. And so I've done this now for, I mean, this is going on my 3rd month. And so my goal, I mean, I can see huge improvements in my eyes. I mean, I would have to wear glasses in order to see you guys. And, but I haven't been checked again. So I'm giving it another couple months, and then I'm going to go to a retina specialist and have them look at my eyes again. But this other person that I told about this had cataracts, and she said, oh, my eye doctor wants me to get this surgery, and I really want to try anything to keep from doing this surgery. And so I gave her the protocol that Dr. Quila gave me. She called me yesterday, all excited, and she said, you know what? Right when I was beginning to think that nothing was going on, I went to get an exam, and the eye doctor told her, oh, this is really weird. He said, I've never had this happen before. Your eyes are now 20/25. And every time she's gone, they've been worse and worse and worse. And he said, I don't know what you're doing, but my gosh, your eyes are so much better now. I'm just amazed. So she called to tell me that.
Oh my God.
And
Well, and so this is energy enhancers and the Eon.
I'll do Ice Wave, the brown one here, the
Okay.
white one here, and then I stack Alavita, X39, and Carnosine. And then I sleep in
on your skin or
on my 3rd eye. You can spread them out too,
yeah.
like, you know, just do them this way. But I ask, is it okay if I stack them, because it's just easier? So I just stack them right there. And the other thing too is I really sleep well, you know, with that. But I use them for 3 nights, and I can tell that when I get on the 4th night, they've lost their potency. So then I start with a whole
Putting
new
it
step.
on the eye mask.
I don't do a mask. I do it just right on my skin.
Okay.
I can't do masks at night because I have too many times I have to jump up with my dogs, and I'm really disoriented when I get up, and the last thing I want to do is run into something.
Yeah,
So, so I just put, you know, I put it right on you can put it on a mask though, and then just put the mask on every night. That's the one thing that she shows. But I just can't do masks.
yeah. So
Um,
are you actually using the same patches for a few nights in a row? Is that what you said?
I'm sorry, say that
Are
again?
you using fresh patches each night?
No, I use the same patches 3 nights in a row.
How do you get them to stick?
They just stick. I don't know. They just stick. Maybe I just have a sticky thing. But I'd be sure I don't have any cream on. You know, I clean the areas off
Yeah.
where I don't have any kind of lotions or anything on my
Yeah.
face. And
which
but
3
yeah,
are on the forehead?
I'm putting
Which
it right
3?
here.
Alavita, Carnosine, and X39, right?
Yes, and Alavita should go on first, then the X39, then the Carnosine, and then the Ice Wave here, the brown here, the white here. And I have run out of Ice Wave, and I've used energy enhancers.
Mhm.
But and it works too. But what I find out is I wake up then. I don't know what it does, but it makes me wake up in the middle of the night. So I try to stick with, you know, the ice wave. But they last a long time. One of my people that is using them too, she uses them 4 nights in a row. But what I do is when I take them off, I put them on my dogs. So I just stick the patches. My one dog looks like she's covered in patches every day.
Oh, my dog.
But she has, yeah, oh my God, she has hip problems, you know, and so there's a huge difference when she doesn't have the patches on.
Mm.
And so she just has patches every on her. We just reuse our patches on our dog.
That's great.
So that's really it. I never tell people it's going to work. I just say you can try this if you want. And that was just such a pleasant phone call that I got yesterday.
Oh, that's
And
great, Tess. That's
yeah, so, and I'm trying to get her to do a testimony. She's part of that group, that office that I'm going to, that has all of the alternative medical people there, and they do frequency kind of things. And so anyway, she's part of that group. So it's, you know, so it's really cool. Look at see, I'm in a different room today because I have a lizard in my bed right now.
a lizard.
Yes, we have lizards. They come in. The nice thing is they eat spiders, but they come into the house. And so I kept feeling something scurrying around my head last night. And I lifted up my pillow and there she is. There's the lizard.
No.
Yeah,
Oh
but
my
they come in every winter. They come in and they just kind of live in the house. I don't mind them. I'm not afraid of them. But they eat
I
spiders.
get used to big things here, big scary things in Mexico in the desert.
Oh,
So when I hear
know.
stories of that, it's like, wow,
Yeah,
okay.
if I don't have scorpions, I'm happy. And so
Yeah.
that's the only thing I have no.
Scorpions or tarantulas or those kind of things. Yeah.
See those
Yeah.
much? Don't.
I do. Not much, but I see them. Yeah. So I get used to that kind of stuff after a while. And it's like, all right.
We're by the Arkansas River, and so they
Yeah.
come up from the river, and then they decide to come in and torment us. So
I know we got to wrap up here, Dr. Linda, but I wanted to say one more thing before we went there. I'll share with you my Teamzy stats that I had.
Okay.
So most important thing, I realized I haven't tracked anything since September 30th, and it's already what the date today, 20th. So 20 days and no tracking goes by like that, right? But I have 247 connects. So it goes back to what you're saying exactly. 247 connects, and then a connect on Teamzy is anything, sending a message, anything. And it's 61 connects to a sale. That's the ratio. So that's almost 100, right?
Yeah.
And the other important thing is 6 shares to a sale. So a share is when you actually send somebody a video or something to look at. So I've only done 6 shares, and that created 1 sale out of 61 connects that connected to that sale. So those are important stats, you know.
Are you sharing the opportunity, or are you always leading with the product?
I'm usually sharing from the app, from the LifeWave app, because then I can track whether they've actually opened the video or not. Yeah. So that's what I lead with. Either there's 2 videos and maybe 3 videos that I use. Yeah, they're all product related, and I just want to see how interested they are. If they take 1 minute out of their time to actually watch 100% of that video, not 50, it's only a minute long, then I know they're interested, right? And then I'll follow up with those people. I think that's important. So I send them the video from the LifeWave app, so it's trackable, so I know when they opened it. Yeah, and that's what I always do. So that's important. But the other thing is, when they're talking about 100 or connecting with 500 people a day, how many of those are warm contacts that you know, or how many that'll be worth tracking too, or people that are completely cold, you know?
Yeah, and I have a question. When you're using the InTouch app, have you figured out how to use it with Messenger? That text voices. How do you do that?
Yes, because I don't really use the app for that. I create a contact, right? A new contact with their name. I decide which video I'm going to share them, and then it automatically copies it into your clipboard, the link and the message, right? And then you have a choice to go to Messenger, which is fine, or you can go there outside of the app. And then once you're in Messenger, then you paste it in there.
Okay.
And then I'll always edit the message because I don't like the message it says. I will write them a personal message with the link. And then it has a unique link, which is the important thing for each person.
Yes.
And then I track it in the LifeWave app because I can go back and see who opened it and who looked at the videos and who to follow up with.
Nice. Okay, well, this has been really interesting. Thank you so
I
much.
have one question about your formula back there on your board. On your connect line, LORD, what was the L for?
Location. Like,
Oh,
I'm expanding my business in your area, or I see you're in this place. I really love visiting, or I'd like to visit there, or I'm expanding my business to there. So that's location, occupation, recreation, and
okay, thank you.
As conversation starters, that's a good.
yeah, right. Now, as you try and connect with folks.
Mhm,
Hi,
mhm.
camera. You were behind. Your name was behind my camera. I didn't see you till this moment. That's good.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, anything that we ought to talk about tomorrow that would be good to discuss? Got any ideas?
Mm. Did you find your other financial spreadsheet, the one that says 12 on 1?
I did. Well, it's
Yeah, that-
it's the 1211.
Then the file name, because the one that I was in had gold up in the file name, but not the 12 on 1.
Yes, the 1211. Well, I think I changed the file name actually.
Okay, then that's what the problem is, or
Yeah.
yeah, why we don't see it up there. Okay, because I know your first spreadsheet in the gold one does have the 12 on 1 on the the title of the spreadsheet, but just not in the file name.
Right, and I just changed it just so I'd know what to look for in my
Yeah,
drawer.
yeah, that's fine. That way it's not driving me crazy trying to find that 12 on 1 in the file name.
Right. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. And if you want to join on the Teamzy time, be happy to have you at teamfeelgoodzoom.com. All right. See you guys.
Have a good day. Bye.
Guys, yeah.